so we've got our lovely round gel press here. This is our 6x6. Now, our stencils don't quite fit, which tells me I need to perhaps design some more, maybe some 6x6. But I'm not too worried about that. I'm sure that we can disguise the edges. They're only just on the edge. But if you're worried about that, stick with your square or your DL, or even the smaller 4x4 gel press. It really doesn't matter, but I'm not too phased about that, so we're just going to go for it. I've picked a couple of colours here. We've got sand and khaki, so I'm going to pop those down. Remembering we only need a tiny amount, because all we're aiming for is just a really nice thin layer. Okay, so popping that down, I'm going to get it as close to the edge as I can, and then I'm just going to roller that on just to kind of stick it down really. Now if I keep rolling, I'm going to take the paint out of the areas, the more exposed areas, to reveal the real intricate detail of the stencil. So okay, so now I'm going to use some of our alcohol inks over the top with our lovely little finger daubers here. So I'm going to use eggplant, so just pop a little bit of that down, and then I'm just going to go around the edge here and then just blend it up the gel press towards the centre. And as I've said about these daubers, they're slightly harder, so you can apply a bit of pressure just to get in and around all that foliage. Okay, so now I'm going to use oregano, so I'm going to pop a little bit of that down on my mat using a different dauber now. I'm just going to do exactly the same thing, overlap the colours ever so slightly. I don't need a huge amount of this, but you know, experiment. You know, I only put a little on, but yeah, just experiment, have a go with different amounts really, and see what you get. Okay. So I'm going to take that stencil off now, and you can see the edge is just slightly, so I'm just going to blend that in a bit. We can use a little bit of the paint as well, so I think we used the sage, didn't we? So I'm just going to pop a little on one of the daubers and just take that around the edge, and that will secretly disguise the border that just lapped over. We can but try, can't we, anyway? As I say, I'm not too worried about that, because by the time you've got your card, your print, and you've blended and stamped over the top, I don't think you're even going to notice the edge, to be perfectly honest. Okay, so I'm going to put a thin layer now over the top of this. Just got to pick the colour. So maybe we'll go with Nugget. Got a little piece of paper just stuck in the middle. I'm not sure where that's come from. It's gone now. Okay, so I think that's dry. So I'm going to pop the nugget down. Only want a very small amount, remember. And then I'm just going to spray that over the top. Nice thin layer. And let's see what we've got. So I'm using the stencil card. So I'm going to pop that over the top, give that a good smooth over. And there we go. And you can see how the eggplant and the oregano comes through on those lovely, on the lovely pattern of the stencil. And I think that's just a really nice, easy background. I hope you can see all that. And as for the edges, you know, as I've said, you can easily just disguise those. That's not a problem. But I will carry on designing maybe some larger square stencils. Okay, so we've got our background. I'm just going to leave that to dry for a little while, and then we're going to stamp onto it. So now it's all dry, I'm going to stamp on top. Okay, so I think we'll go that way. I'm going to use our green man, so I think he'll go on there quite nice. So I'm going to ink up in our archival. So this is our jet black. So make sure he's completely covered. And then we'll place him down in the centre there. Give it a good press. And there he is. Okay. So I'm using my template here to go around the edge because I just want to darken that a little, and that will then pull your eye into the centre. So using a smoothie, I can find the right colour. Okay. So I'm going to go around the edge, and this will just give it a little bit of depth. Now my mask isn't quite big enough. It's as big as my hole cutter will go, so I'm having to move it as I go around the edge, but that's really not a problem. Oops. Let's go over that again. Okay, so that's now given us a really nice sort of frame, green frame. You can darken that if you want, I may do at the end, we'll see how we get on. Okay, so I'm going to take some little stamps now and we're going to just decorate our green man. So I need a small block, if I can find one somewhere. And then using one of our leaf stamps, this is just a pound stamp. I'm inking up in the archival. So I'm just going to bob a few leaves around. I'm decorating. Oops. Works really well actually, this mini pound stamp with the green man. Quite like the effect. I've not tried that before. Okay, knowing when to stop. I'm going to now use our berry stamp and ink up in a red. And I'm just going to bob a few berries around as well, just to bring in a little bit of colour. Okay, pop that to the side, and now we're going to just use our colour box and some water just to bring in a little bit of depth and just go around these edges. So all I'm doing is filling in the areas, leaving the lines open. And this makes our image a little bit more solid. Just build up your depth just gradually, so start off really weak with your colour and water. You can add more and more depth as you go along, but I wouldn't put too much paint on to start with, sorry, ink to start with. Just build it up nice and gradually. And you can see him starting to pop out. the more depth that we add. He looks quite a cold green man actually, because he's in blue. Quite a wintry one. Make a good Christmas card, especially with the red berries. Okay. So what am I going to use now? I think I'm going to I'll use my little glaze. This is our red glaze pen. I'm going to just bring in a few more little dots just to balance those big berries out. I just feel that they're too on the outside, so if I bring the colour in, it'll just balance. Okay, so I'm going to just wait for that to dry a little. Let me have a look. I think we need I've got a white here, so I'm just going to bring the white in the eyes just to make them stand out a little more. And then I'll just bob them over some of the lines as well. You can use your white pen on all sorts of things like this. You know, on trees they're great just to pull out the detail, and it really does 3D your image. Okay, you can see how that pulls it out. So that's enough of that now. Let's check these are dry. Okay. So I am going to go back round because I still feel that it needs a little bit more depth here. So I'm going to go back to my smoothie. It's always good to sort of just keep working with things until you're happy. So I'm actually dipping that in the black archival, but I only want a touch. Move that around. Just the very, very edge. That's all I want. I don't want it to be too overpowering, especially with it being black. If it's too black, it'll pull your eye away from the center. So there we go. So you can see what a difference that's made now. It really does pull your eye into the center. Now we're going to just bob a few words around the edge. Of course you don't have to, that's just what I do. So picking a verse, this time we can go with VersaFine because we're stamping onto the white card, we're not stamping onto acrylic. So I'm going to use Shady Lane. I'm taking off first, and then so I only want a really faint verse around the edge. like so. And I think I'm going to leave him there actually, or should we put a little bit of glitter on? What colour glitters have we got? Actually, we could go with a little bit of the blue-green. This is my real go-to, one of my favourite colours, but because we've got blue and green going on in there, then I think that will work quite well. So I am going to just do a few little random dots of blue. And just do a smidgen of glitter. And there we go. It's got just enough glitter, perfect. So I hope you enjoyed that, guys. Something a little bit different again. Thank you so much for joining me. And you take care, and we'll see you real soon. Bye for now.